Well, hello there, everyone. I hope everyone is keeping safe and well. It's John here with a another video. It's been a while now since I've done a video. First of all, I'd like to wish everyone a very happy new year, and hopefully now that things improve this year and we get out of this situation as such. Yeah, so I have been tagged by Sean Whelan of S.W Productions, Studio Productions, and he has done a Bowie vinyl tag, which a lot of guys on the VC have done already, and I've seen some of them and they're absolutely brilliant. So he's asked 16 questions, brilliant questions, all relating, of course, to David Bowie. So I thought absolutely I would jump on this. So, first question is first Bowie album I ever heard. Well, first David Bowie album I ever heard would be the 1980 Scary Monsters album, which just absolutely blew me away. So I was around. I think I was about 11 at the time when I first heard this album, and it just absolutely blew me away. I was listening to other artists at the time who were around at the time, like Adam and the Ants and bands, people like that. But when I heard this, I remember saying, Jesus, this is absolutely unbelievable. From the opening track, It's No Game, number one, right through to songs like Scary Monsters, Ashes to Ashes, Fashion. But this album has always kind of been nostalgic to me, and it's kind of one of those albums which I kind of very much relate to. I always look at this album as my favorite David Bowie album anyway. So it's the first album I ever heard, and I absolutely fell in love with it. But at the time, also very soon after hearing this album, I did hear his Low album, which I liked. But I only actually liked side one of that album, which had mostly the tracks. There's a couple of instrumentals on side one, but side two was all instrumentals, and I just couldn't get into that at the time when I first started listening to Bowie. But this one always will remain with me the most, David Bowie's Scary Monsters album. So that's the first David Bowie album I heard. First Bowie album I bought. The first David Bowie album I bought was around 83 when it first came out, and that would be Bowie's Let's Dance album. Um, the Mega album, of course, his biggest selling album. Yeah, it is. Naturally, it is his most commercial album. It sold something like 12, 13 million copies, I believe, worldwide. But yeah, this is the first. Now, I do like this album a lot, even though it's regarded as kind of anybody's album more so than a kind of a real thorough David Bowie album. But as I say, it is a very commercial album, but it has some great tracks, of course. The brilliant Let's Dance, China Girl, Modern Love, the fantastic Criminal World, Cat People, and the beautiful Ballad Without You. But yeah, this is actually a reissue from last year that was brought out by HMV, limited amounts on a blue vinyl. So this is not the original pressing. I do, of course, have the original pressing, but this is a nice piece. It's still sealed. Actually, I haven't opened this album yet. So Let's Dance, first album I bought back in '83. So I would have been about 11 then as well. Okay, favorite album cover. I like a lot of David Bowie's album covers, so I had to kind of toy around with this a bit. I like Diamond Dogs. I like his Heroes album, of course, and but I have to go with the brilliant Low album, of course, with the still there from The Man Who Fell to Earth. Even though the picture, the still here, is from a year prior. This album was released in '77, January '77, so not too long after. His image kind of changed a little from this, but I do like this picture, and I like the scene actually it was taken from also, from The Man Who Fell to Earth with the orange beam going around, so orange light going around. So yeah, that would probably be my favourite David Bowie album cover, would be Low. Now, next, two favourite eras. Number four, two favourite eras. Well, my favourite eras would be 76 Tim White Duke era. This lad here, the Station album from 1976. I love his kind of Tim White Duke character, kind of that stage. So that would definitely be there. Alongside then following into his Low, his Heroes, and of course the Lodger album. Yeah, his Berlin trilogy. So that would be my favourite kind of period, and going into Scary Monsters. So it would be kind of in around 76 to 1980 is definitely my favourite period of David Bowie. Now, number 5, favourite opening track. Bowie has some fantastic opening tracks. I know a few have gone with, it's especially Richard McCook has gone with It's No Game #1 from the brilliant Scary Monsters album. Yeah, definitely a fantastic opening track. So he has so many, but I have to go along with From the Man Who Sold the World, the fantastic Wit of a Circle, from Mick Ronson's guitar opening riff. It's just absolutely unbelievable. Just one of those opening tracks that's it. To me, it's kind of it's the beginning really of the Spiders from Mars. Even though you don't have the full crew from the Spiders from Mars on this album, but it's the kind of first real kind of feel towards what was to come later on the Hunky Dory and the Ziggy Stardust album, Aladdin Sane album, of course. But The Width of a Circle is definitely my favourite opening track, and it just takes on a whole new direction. It just goes in all sorts of different directions, and such a haunting track. It's just an absolutely fantastic, brilliant track, and absolutely it's spellbinding when he does it live, especially on the Ziggy Stardust tour, and on the Diamond Dogs tour. He also performed it live as well. But it's just an absolutely fantastic track. Brilliant guitar playing from Ronson in it as well. This is actually a reissue again, a mix from Tony Visconti from last year, 2020. Fantastic mix. Just sounds brilliant. Every track on it is phenomenal, and all mixed except of course for the track After All, which Visconti felt just needed to be left alone, not to be touched. But yeah, he was definitely right in that. But every track on this album is fantastic. And Save Your Machine, Man Who Sold the World, of course, Superman, All the Madmen, the brilliant All the Madmen. But anyway, opening track, Width of a Circle. Now, next question is favourite closing track. I had to think about this one a lot because Bowie has some fantastic closing tracks, and I like a lot of Bowie's closing tracks on his later albums, especially on from on from Hours kind of onwards, like from Hours. It's is it The Last of the Dreamers? Yeah, The Dreamers, a fantastic song. Absolutely love that song. And the Reality album has Bring Me the Disco King, which I absolutely love, and Heathen the Rays, which is another fantastic song. And even Black Star, I Can't Give Everything Away. Fantastic. So a lot of my favourite tracks by Bowie on his albums are actually the final closing tracks. But I had to go along with this one. It's either this one or it was Strange As When We Meet from the Outside album. But I had to go with the beautiful classic Lady Grinning Soul from the Aladdin Sane album. Of course, Mike Garson's piano playing, absolutely beautiful. But an absolutely beautiful ballad, and yeah, Lady Grinning Soul, Aladdin Sane. Right, so favourite cover song, again, I had to think about this one because a lot of Bowie fans kind of sit on the fence with this one. They're kind of, they don't know whether to take or leave his cover versions. But I've always liked a lot of David Bowie's cover versions. And again, especially on his later albums, like songs like Pablo Picasso from Reality and The Brilliant Cactus from his Heathen album, which of course is by the Pixies. And I also like his version of George Harrison's Buy Some Try Some from his, or Try Some Buy Some from his album Reality as well. But I went along with a song, the cover version of The Kinks' Where Have All the Good Times Gone from the Pin-Ups album. And I just absolutely love that song. It's always been one of my favourite songs by Bowie, even though it's a cover version, of course. But yeah, fantastic song. And I also like I Can't Explain from this, and of course Syd Barrett's, well, Pink Floyd's See Emily Play. Just a brilliant album, Pin-Ups anyway. So yeah, Where Have All the Good Times Gone if I had to choose one. Now, and that's a closing track also. Okay, so favourite cover song, that's done. Number 8 is favourite collaboration. Right, so a lot of fans would obviously go with Under Pressure with Bowie and Queen, which is a fantastic song, of course. But I had to pick two here. I just couldn't pick one because I can't decide between these two songs. But this is David Bowie with the Pat Metheny Group, and this is Not America from around 85, 86. Just an absolutely brilliant song from the movie The Falcon and the Snowman. But yeah, it's just an absolutely fantastic song, and he did actually perform this live in 1999 during his Hours promotional tour. So, yep, definitely, This Is Not America would definitely be one of my favourites. And another one which I couldn't leave out is the brilliant Pity Pink Rose, which he duets with Adrian Blue on this particular song. Um, yeah, the thing about this is it's more kind of an Adrian Blue song. It's featured on Adrian Blue's album Young Lions, but it was featured very heavily during David Bowie's Sound and Vision tour. He performed it live mostly every night. But it's just an absolutely brilliant song, and yeah, definitely would have to go along with that. Right, so number 9 is a favourite soundtrack song. Yeah, Absolute Beginners obviously, yeah, is an absolutely beautiful song. One of my favourite songs by him. But I have to go along with this also. I think Richard went with this also. It's When the Wind Blows from the same movie, When the Wind Blows, the animated movie. Just an absolutely belter of a song. Very underrated song also, but absolutely brilliant song. His voice is absolutely overwhelming on this. It's just a beautiful, beautiful ballad. Yep, that would definitely be there with Absolute Beginners as my favourite soundtrack song. Next up, we have Bowie track that is No Talk About. Yeah, a song I went with, which I always felt was perhaps not underrated, but never really spoken about. Perhaps it's because he's never really, I don't think he's ever performed it live. And it's a song from the Diamond Dogs album, a song called We Are the Dead. It's the second song on side 2, and it's an absolute, again, it's a ballad, and it's an absolutely cracker of a song. And it's not so much forgotten, but you never hear so much talk about it. And it's kind of in a way, I suppose it is kind of a shelved gem as such, but it's an absolutely beautiful song, a brilliant song, and it fits perfectly on this album, this fantastic album, Diamond Dogs. So, yeah, We Are the Dead, I feel, is perhaps underrated. But this is a cracker of an album, and like every track on this album is just like mind blowing. So, yeah, We Are the Dead. Fantastic song. I think it actually ended up as a B-side of TVC 15 or one of his other songs like that, I think. Right, so favourite involvement. Well, I would have to say Iggy Pop, of course. This is The Idiot from Around. This was recorded just prior, I believe, to Low. Bowie is a very high kind of involvement in this album, and it's a fantastic album. One of my favourite albums by Iggy Pop. So I'm going along with that. And I'm also going along with kind of a bit of a surprise. Blah, 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 86 from 1986. Bowie was very heavily involved in this. I wrote a lot of it with him and produced it alongside with David Richards. But this album, when it first came out, I absolutely fell in love with it, and I really got into Iggy Pop around then. And but even though it's kind of Iggy's more commercial side, and it was released prior, just before David Bowie's Never Let Me Down album, which was of course commercial and got very much so mixed reviews. But this one, even though it's commercial, it's a better album than Never Let Me Down. It's perhaps a little bit kind of maybe in a way overproduced as such, but it's an album I absolutely love, and it's just one of those really catchy albums, and I like every track on it, and it almost feels like a Bowie album, even though it kind of has that kind of 80s feel to it, but it kind of stands out a little bit perhaps more on its own. But songs like really Real Wild Child, of course, the opening song, and Baby You Can't Fall, Shades, Fire Girl, Isolation, they're all fantastic songs. And the song itself, the album Blah Blah Blah, the track the track itself, Blah Blah Blah, is an absolutely fantastic song. So yeah, definitely Bowie's involvement with this too I really like. And Bowie always spoke very highly of this album, even into the 90s, when he would kind of not so much criticise his Never Let Me Down album, but kind of say we're all a load of crap album. He never kind of said that this was a poor. He always kind of thought that this was a fantastic album, Bowie. He said that he was very fond of this album also, and his work that he had done on this album, and I can see why, because it is a really, really good album. So that's Iggy's Blah Blah Blah. Okay, so Favorite Bowie movie. My favorite David Bowie movie is The Hunger. Now, kind of the obvious one that sticks out would be, I suppose, The Man Who Fell to Earth. But The Man Who Fell to Earth is an okay film, but I just found that the whole movie's too bloody weird. It's just look. I know we're talking about David Bowie, Alien, and what have you, kind of David Bowie weird, of course. But this is an absolutely fantastic film where he's playing the Asian vampire in it, and it's just the scenes in it and the acting, and his acting in this is actually quite good. And he's acting in Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. It's not too bad. I know he's not the best of actors, but I like him in this, and it's a Tony Scott film, and it's just one of those great films. So yeah, definitely go with that. And another one I'm choosing is this one here. This is Into the Night, where he plays a cameo role in this album, or in this movie. He kind of plays this underground villain as such, but he acts really well in this too. I did like this one also. He kind of plays better as cameo roles, I think, when he kind of stars in movies more so, because he's not a fantastic actor, David Bowie, of course. But yeah, I really like him in this too. So Into the Night. Right, so his favourite look. Oh, actually, favourite, I missed one there. Number 12, favourite Bowie movie. Number 13 is favourite Bowie influence. Well, the kind of obvious one that sticks out, of course, is the Andy Warhol and Velvet Underground kind of influence. But for me, he's had so many influences, Bowie. You're talking like Anthony Newley, of course, Shirley Bassey, and, you know, to mention a few. But one of the main kind of influences which I really liked on Bowie was his kind of influence towards Vince Taylor, which was kind of brought around the whole kind of Ziggy Stardust thing, because even though there's a lot of kind of with Ziggy, there's a lot of Iggy Pop, there's a lot of Lou Reed in there, of course, but Vince Taylor was kind of the more kind of driving force of Ziggy Stardust, which kind of gave him the whole kind of idea of the whole Ziggy Stardust character thing, and kind of hiding yourself away, and kind of create characters and fitting yourself into them, and you kind of got that kind of vibe from Vince Taylor, because Vince Taylor it was an absolute nutcase. Didn't he go on stage at one stage and reckon he was Jesus Christ, and absolutely destroyed his career? But yeah, so there's no kind of single influence, but when it comes to that, I think I was always very fascinated by the whole Vince Taylor thing. Now, I've no music on Vince Taylor, I don't have any albums or anything on Vince Taylor, but yeah, I'm gonna go along with that. And of course, you have to say the Velvet Underground and Lou Reed. Right, so favorite look by Bowie for me was always will be his Thin White Duke kind of stage, where he wore the kind of black waistcoat and the white short and the cigarette in the pocket and the cigarette, and you know, he just absolutely looked fantastic during this time. And of course, he reincarnated that kind of look for his Sound and Vision era back in 1990. Yep, so the Thin White Duke would be definitely my favourite look by Bowie, with the red hair slicked back. He just looked cool then, but he always looked cool. Okay, what concert was the best? Oh, many times have I seen David Bowie. I seen him in '87 in Slane. Then I seen him on his Sound and Vision tour in 1990, in August 1990, 2 shows, the Point Depot. I seen him twice with Tin Machine, in the Bagot Inn and in the Waterfront, which were absolutely, my God, just mind-blowing shows. And there was only a few hundred allowed in. We queued for hours to get into them shows. Then it was around 1995, I seen him in the Point Depot in November 1995 on his Outside tour, and I also seen him in King's Hall in Belfast in the December. He was due to do the November then as well, but I think he cancelled his King's Hall Belfast show for a few weeks, and it was rescheduled for December. And the ironic thing about them shows is when I went to those shows, I just didn't kind of really get into them, because the Outside album, I found it very hard to get into. Now, I did the album prior, Black Tie, White Nights, I did like, but I wasn't over mad on it, and he hadn't toured really solo for a long time, so he was kind of just kind of out of the Tin Machine thing when he had done the Black Tie. And Yeah, and then came the outside, and I just thought it was too bloody strange. I just found it so hard to get into. And looking back now, God, I remember even being at the Point Depot when I was even thinking about leaving early, leaving the show early. I'm so glad I didn't. But looking back at it now, it was so well ahead of its time. It's just, I can't believe that I was going to walk out of that show. But it was a good show, a fantastic, a very loud show. But I thought the King's Hall show was actually a better show, I have to say. But yeah, very enjoyable. Done some fantastic songs. You done Moon Age Daydream, done Under Pressure, you done DJ, some great songs, Andy Warhol. And yeah, so anyway, 95, seen him then. In 97, he played 2 shows in the Olympia in August 97. I was at one of those shows. Fantastic. It was a drum and bass set. Of course, promoting the Earthling album, that was. And the Earthling album I did like, and I really, really enjoyed that show. The first half was kind of, he was doing all acoustic sets. He came out with his guitar and his bare feet, and he just kicked off with the beautiful Quicksand and done some absolutely fantastic songs. And then the second set was all kind of drum and bass, but he done kind of a drum and bass versions of songs like Stay, which is absolutely brilliant. I really enjoyed that show a lot. And looking down on him at the time was his wifey Man, who was up in the balcony looking down at the show. So everyone was kind of looking up at her while they were staring at Bowie as well. But a fantastic show. In 1999, he played the HQ Hall in Abbey Street. I wasn't at that. It was more for promotional kind of reporters and such. So, and tickets were very, very kind. It was only a handful, I think, handed out to fans at the time. So that was more of a kind of one of his surprise gigs also. And he also played Rialto, I believe, in 96 or 95, I think it was also. Wasn't at that show either, which again was only limited amount of tickets handed out. I think Guinness's were handing out tickets to fans, something like 100 people. So I wasn't at that show. And then I seen him, of course, which is my favourite gigs, would be the Reality in the Point Depot, which I was very fortunate to be at. That was absolutely fantastic. 2 brilliant shows in November 2003. The songs kicked off, of course, with the brilliant Rebel Rebel, done other tracks like All the Young Dudes, Be My Wife, Under Pressure, Life on Mars Changes, and as well as a lot of kind of just spanned his whole career. All eras of his music were kind of fit into this gig. It was just absolutely mind-blowing, absolutely brilliant show. Loved it. The energy behind the show was absolutely fantastic, and I can understand why it's been put on DVD. But absolutely brilliant. And to think 6 months, 7 months later, he was to go down with a heart attack. You would never think it to look at him on stage. He was absolutely full of energy, interacting with the crowd brilliantly, and just in top form. If you look at the DVD, you can see. But absolutely brilliant. As I say, I was fortunate to be at these 2 shows, and I thoroughly enjoyed them, and just brilliant. Just and kicked off, should I say, finished with the brilliant Ziggy Stardust, 5 years, Hang On to Yourself, Ziggy Stardust as an encore. And he played for almost well over 2.5 hours on both nights. So yeah, that would definitely 100% be my favourite gig by David Bowie in the Point Depot in 2003. So, and what release am I most looking forward to? Well, obviously, it would be the box set that's going to be released later in the year, which will take in from, I believe, Black Tie, White Noise up to, I'm not too sure when. I can't see it going up to Heathen, to be honest, but perhaps it will. But yeah, and but I don't think the Butter of Suburbia will be in it, because the Butter of Suburbia is kind of looked at as a soundtrack album, so I can't really see that being in the box set, to be honest. But it'd be interesting to see. So I'm really looking forward to that, because there's going to be all sorts of reissues and extra tracks from Outside and Earthling and albums like that. So that'd be great to see, to have all them. Yeah, so that's what I'm really looking forward to. So that's it. So that's my David Bowie 16 questions that Sean Whelan compiled, put together. Really enjoyed that. So thanks so much for watching. I'll leave a link to Sean's channel, who has a brilliant channel, a big David Bowie fan. And I'll leave a link to his channel there. And thanks so much for watching, and stay safe and look after yourselves. Okay, bye-bye.